Three, we are recording.
Hey everybody, welcome to our first Diesel Nation call of February. I'm so excited to not talk on this call. I'm really pumped because Mindy, she's such a great leader. Last month she said, you know what, I want to help you schedule calls. I can find great speakers for our Diesel Nation team calls for everybody to benefit. So let me do the first one of February. I said, you're amazing. Let's do this. And today she's put together a call with her success partner, Tamara, which I love. And you're going to hear about their strategies on success partners and why it's important. Some of you guys are brand new coaches, and this might be a foreign concept for you, but as you get warmed up into the business, you'll start realizing that having someone to bounce ideas off of, to strategize, to keep you on your toes, which is why this girl needs a success partner. I think it'll play out to be a very helpful call. But before we get to all that very valuable information, which you definitely, I have my notebook, which I keep all my notes of every single call that I participate on, whether I'm hosting or whether I am listening. I take notes because you can always go back and pick up something that you didn't pick up the time that you were first listening to the call. So take notes. I want to announce something really special that I'm really excited about. 2 weeks ago, I was approached by one of my mentors in the business, Barbie Kalev. You may know her on the business side. She's one of the network's most successful coaches. She's been a coach for over 10 years, has hit 15-star diamond, has, I don't know, 8 business centers, something like that. It's like ridiculous. And she asked me, would you like to team up for a training that we would provide our organizations? And of course, I jumped at the opportunity. And then as it progressed, we started adding more amazing coaches to the lineup. And right now we have 8 very successful coaches that have teamed up to do what we have called Obsessed with Diamond. It's going to be basically a 4-week intensive training for anyone in our organization that is an emerald or above, where the goal is not only to give you the strategies to advance your business to diamond, but it's going to be a very do group instead of a just sit back and watch and listen group. It's going to be, we're going to do power hours. We're going to talk about like real life strategies on how to sponsor coaches, more than you are probably accustomed to by just listening to team calls like this. So by this Thursday morning, you have to be a paid emerald to get into this group. I'm already in the group. We're going to start adding people already. And the purpose is eventually to lead this group into a team leader training, right? I'm really excited because I had one of my PS coaches advance to team leader today, Tarasina, which means she's earning over $2,000 in commissions a month. She's a diamond coach who has coaches in her organization hitting Success Hub. That is the goal, right? To get to that point where your income is nice, it's substantial, and you are leading a team. It's like awesome. So the goal is get us focused on hitting this one goal, which a lot of you, I'm looking at you right now, have set the goal to go to Summit, diamond or above. Like, now's the time to put your money where your mouth is and start moving towards that goal and get into this group. It's going to be amazing so that we can start working towards that goal of team leader, which absolutely symbolizes that you are generating a life-changing income, but you're also leading a team that is making moves in their business. So I hope you guys are super excited about this. We're going to be adding people. I'm going to be sharing the links. If you are emerald and above, you can get into the group already. And then we rock and roll, you guys. We are wasting no time. We've got momentum. It's Team Cup time, and it's going to be an awesome training group. So I hope everybody gets into the group. I hope everybody participates. We need a team full of emerald coaches that are pushing their business toward diamond, and we're gonna start that process now. So that was my announcement, And now I'm turning it back over to Miss Horde.
Hey everyone. So I am super excited about that. I've been holding that secret for a while. So now the cat's out of the bag and I hope you guys are just as excited. So anyways, we are in the midst of Cup Month and my favorite month in this business because February is when I came along. You know, everybody has their New Year's resolution and then this happens and then this happens and that happens. And once Super Bowl is like over, everybody's like, oh God, there's nothing to really look forward to. And so I got started on my journey. I pressed play for the first time on February 2nd, and I became a coach on February 15th. I believe that this month is an epic month. And the fact that we have Cup just, adds more to it. And we're here to talk to you tonight about teamwork. And that is the one thing that has been so pivotal and monumental in my business is the fact that I have learned how to work as a team. I still struggle because I was one of those people that if you want something done right, do it yourself. And I've had to learn to lean in and to help people. And I really feel that when Becky and Christina got started, they were kind of alone in the journey. And I came in and we were kind of like the trifecta. And then we ran with that and really started a culture of teamwork. But as we've grown, as the organization's grown, as we've become limited on stuff, I've seen that kind of break down. And that's, is because we're growing and that's part of it. So I want to reinforce that more than anything, that teamwork is necessary. And that's something that I was just so happy to have girlfriends and to have people that to bounce ideas off of and to share the successes with. And as our team grew, as we grew as leaders, and as we grew closer, Christina and Becky and I, we kind of went from strangers to business partners to friends. And let's face it, we all know when somebody has that spouse or sister or parent syndrome where after a while, everything they say is just kind of becomes white noise. And so you need that extra help. And so this is something that I hope that as you guys have teamed up for the Cup, that you're learning to lean in, to work together, to cultivate that teamwork. And we've seen so many people come out of Team Cups as partners and forming this partnership. And so having somebody outside of your upline, outside of your sponsor is so important because like I said, you guys become really good friends. You hear what they say and it's sometimes different coming from another voice, somebody that doesn't benefit from you, that you haven't grown this deep relationship with. And so I was introduced to Success Partners, the concept of it several years ago, and I've struggled back and forth trying to find the right fit. So I'll turn it over to Tammy to explain what a success partner is to you, and we're kind of be going back and forth. If you have any questions, just type in the chat and we will answer you.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks so much for having me, guys. I'm Tamara Tarrant, and I'm actually, my upline coach is Shane Fryer. She's actually going to be on the Beachbody Champions page this week on Wednesday. And so I'm from a totally different team, although we're all in the same bigger upline. I'm also under Jason Diebold somewhere. And so I actually first saw Christina and Becky 5 years ago at Summit and, have met them and spoken with them. And so when I was told about partnering up with Mindy, I was super, super excited. And so I'm really excited to be here with you guys tonight. But so when I heard what's a success partner, the first time I was like, what does that mean? And really what a success partner is it's not your upline. Let's start with what it's not. It should not be your upline. I don't believe that a success partner should be your personally sponsored and coach. That person's different. They're, hopefully doing one-on-one calls with you and getting you started and pushing you in a different way. They're also not somebody that you sponsored, so it shouldn't be someone above or below you. This is somebody who is kind of your sideline coach. They're also in this business and they have similar goals to you. And other companies call them pacing partners, so you may have heard that term before. But there's somebody who is, ideally headed in the same direction in the business as you. And so you may have exactly the same goals. Like Mindy and I both want to hit elite this year. And so we're both driving together to reach that goal. But we have strengths and weaknesses in different areas. So we both push on one another and we guide one another along that journey. So we've shared what it is we're looking to achieve. And this is a business relationship. We have certainly built a friendship from it, but it has started as a business relationship. We really saw and said to one another, this is what I want to achieve, and this is what I want out of this relationship. And so I think it's really important for you to understand that as a success partner, this is somebody who is going to help you move forward when you're feeling like you're stuck in a muck, of this business, because that can happen. It's somebody who's going to be like, let's go, come on, wake you up. We have our calls every single week together. We get on Zoom. Mindy is in Texas. I'm in Connecticut. And we get on, despite the time change, we rely on each other, and we know that the other person is going to be there when we say that we're going to be there. And, for example, today we were like, okay, let's get down to business. Mindy's like, let's make this call productive. And then there's other times where we may need to just kind of vent about what's going on in our personal lives to kind of get out of where we're stuck. And so it's developing that kind of relationship, I think, is crucial, and knowing and sharing your expectations around. So I want to bounce it back to Mindy to maybe kind of talk about how we, started that and sharing our expectations and boundaries, setting those boundaries.
So I was introduced to the success partner concept years ago, and I made the mistake of like posting it in the elite groups and saying, I need a success partner. And then like the first person who came, I'm like, oh yeah, you're it. And I didn't understand that concept. And I'll say that I was mismatched several times, but like, dude, it took me 3 times to find the right husband. So it's not like I expected to find the right success partner right away. So it was difficult. It was hard breaking up with people. And honestly, I'm going to be totally honest that sometimes it just didn't work. So I stopped talking to them. Definitely don't do that. But there was a lot of people who were like super negative, super this, super that. And so, I feel that with any experience you have in life, you need to take lessons away from it. So even though I didn't have positive success partner experiences, I did find out what I didn't want and what I did want. So Shane is somebody that I know. She was posting in a group, hey, I have this person, blah, 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 who needs a success partner. And I said, I might be interested. But this time I didn't just say, oh, pick me. I was like, I might be interested. Well, I was very gun shy because I thought, God, is this person gonna let me down? Am I gonna have to like do the whole, ghosting on them and then feel bad when I see them in events? But I was headed to the Tony Robbins event, Unleash the Power Within, in November 2016. So she was like, Shane messaged both me and her to introduce ourselves. Well, Tammy kept on me. Like, we need to meet up, blah, 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 enjoy where you are. She was friendly. And then she kept checking up on me. And like, I'm one of those people, like, I got so super overwhelmed. If you've ever been to a Tony Robbins thing, you need like a 8-day hibernation to like catch up on your sleep. So I was, overwhelmed with, trying to get caught my messages. She kept on me. And I was like, man, this chick is persistent. Like, obviously she wants this. So that was like a selling point to me, because other people had flaked on me, made excuses. And I was tired of that. So we decided to finally meet up, and I was very, very clear. And this is something that I think that you should do in any relationship, with your challengers, with your spouse, with your kids, with anybody in business, is be very clear about your boundaries and what you're looking for and what you're going to bring to the table. So I let her know what my goals were, what I was bringing to the table, what my past experiences were, and what my expectations were. And, we shared that. We, kind of connected over some things that were relatable, that we had in common. However, we both are very clear that if this didn't work, then we were going to be honest with one another instead of wasting each other's time. And so that's something that I want you to kind of put a list together. And if you were on the National Wake Up Call, Jen Richardson talked about your interests, of who your avatar is, who you are. Well, understand who you are so that you can go to somebody and say, this is who I am. This is what I'm looking for. And so that and also share what you're bringing to the table. And then also give a list of what you'll do and what you won't do, what you'll tolerate, and vice versa. And so, one thing is that, we agree to go in this together. And, and I was like, I want us to be friends because that's the goal, but really it's business first, because I have friends, I have a coach, like I, need this. And I'm like, and I let her know that like, hey, I'm somebody who can just bullshit my way through it. I've done it with people from corporate, I know how to fluff it up and when I'm really not doing shit. And sorry if you guys don't cuss or if you have kids, sorry. Anyways, so one of the things too that I made very clear was, that I was tired of wasting my time. Like, I have done calls with coaches where it was just wasted time and there was no direction. And then it just left me feeling frustrated and really anxious when it came to the calls. Like, because I thought, like, am I just going to waste, 30 minutes or an hour? And, and the one thing that I set in stone of what I didn't want to do is gossip. And that's one thing that we said, there will be no gossip. That even when we become friends, there's going to be no gossip. That everything that we're talking about is completely productive. And I'm really proud to say that we've been literally working together since November of 2016. And there's been no gossip. There's been no drama. There has been just, facts and goal-driven things. And there are times where we've texted one another and said, like, can you be my friend? Can we get on the phone and talk? And so there's that difference, because you're going to become friends with somebody that you're working with. I mean, that's the whole basis of this, somebody that you're sharing goals and details of your life with. But there's a time and place that literally we meet Monday after the National Wake Up Call. It gives us some accountability to, number one, get on the National Wake Up Call, then somebody to start bouncing around the ideas of what was shared in the National Wake Up Call, because the worst thing is to listen to the National Wake Up Call and then not implement anything you learn. And so that is really something that's important, that we show up strong. And there has been things that have happened that, somebody's been sick, a kid's been sick, we've had family or something to deal with. But overall, I'd say 95% of the time we show up together every Monday after a National Wake Up Call, and we get to work. And there's, like I said, there's other times where we're like, hey, I need a friend, and it might fall outside of that. But we really, 95% of the time, keep that Monday, from 10:40 to about 12 o'clock dedicated to business. And some days she's up and some days I'm down, and vice versa. And we've agreed to kick each other in the ass. And I think having those boundaries set in the beginning were really important. So one of the things that we were going to talk about is that Tamara said she had like some things going in that she didn't think that she was, worthy enough. And that's something that we face every day in life with any relationship, as a parent, as a spouse, as a coach, even in the workplace. And so I'm going to have her share a little bit about what her worries were going in and how they were pretty invalid.
I didn't think they were invalid at the time, I'll be honest. And, and so it's, we all have people, and you guys probably even here on this team, you have other people on your own team that you look up to, and, you see, oh, they hit elite, or, oh, they're team leader this month and I haven't gotten there yet. Well, I have never hit elite yet. I am one of those people who built for volume, not rank. And so it's caused a struggle for my business in terms of rank advancement. And so I have have had years of all the points and not the rank in order to be an elite coach. But and here I hear Mindy's been, a 3-time elite, and I'm like, oh God, I'm so not worthy to work with her. But you know what? I did that whole, before I even did this book, that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just freaking jump. You know what? I will rise to meet it. I will, whatever expectation I think that I'm not capable of, I'm going to meet her where she's at, and I'm going to help us push ourselves forward. And so I was like, ooh, but I just did it. And that's why that's why I was so persistent. I was like, I want to work with this girl. And so I want to encourage you guys to challenge yourself to, if you see somebody on this team or across teams. And I really, truly want to say that I think one of the amazing things about our relationship is we are from 2 totally different networks. That she's got such an amazing team here in Diesel Nation. And I have an awesome team with Wild Impact, and we're able to share the information that's going across. My team's not going to be going through this awesome diamond tree. I'm like jealous, like hearing about what Christina's putting together, right? Because I'm like, I love that stuff, right? But we're able to share that information with each other and then decide how we want to implement that. And maybe it's something we duplicate for our own downlines as we're going into, fighting for elite this year, right? So we're able to talk about those things together. And so for me, really feeling like for that split second, I've done a lot of personal development, guys, to combat that. And that's something Mindy and I share in common, and it's something we consistently work on together. We share the personal development we're doing. I share with her what I'm up to. She shares with me. But I really said, I'm gonna, whatever that mean girl voice in my head just said about my ability to pair with her, I'm gonna just do this, and I'm gonna overcome whatever barriers I think that I may have in this relationship, and really fight to make this the best for the two of us, because it is that kind of relationship. And someone asked, should you have more than one success partner? I'm going to be really brutally honest with you. I've had a few at a time, and that's really been because I wasn't getting what I needed from any one person. And I wasn't having a courageous enough conversation to say, you know what, this just ain't working for me right now, so we got to go. And I think that, again, starting off a relationship in a really positive way and saying, this is what I need, these are the expectations and the boundaries, is crucial. But even if you didn't do that, it's, and I call them courageous conversations. We should all be adults. It's really easy to hide and like pretend. But you know what? Just share that this isn't working for you. Like, if it's not bringing you joy, if it's not getting you to where you need to be, and I guarantee if you feel that way, then so does your success partner. They're feeling like, and they don't want to, they don't want to like leave you behind either. And so then you go get a second person because you hope that that person's going to meet your needs. I'll be honest, Minnie and I spend enough time together and we work at it enough. I couldn't imagine having another one. I don't want to have another person that I'm having to share myself with business wise. So I think that if you have more than one, then I think you need to really evaluate why that is. And again, I've had many, guys. And just like Mindy, I've had a bunch of success partners in my 5 years as an active coach now. And it's just, I probably should have left a lot of them long before. And there were times in between that I didn't fight to go have another one. So if you're like me, where you're like, yeah, I've been there, done that when I first became a coach and it didn't work out for me, we've been there too. And so you just have to keep trying to find that person who's going to, to bring you up a notch. That's what we all want to be doing, is fighting to get better every day in both our business and our fitness. And so Mindy and I talk about that even still. If I'm not meeting your expectations, I want to know it. And that's the only way that I'm going to be able to get better. And if for some reason we get to a point where we're not pushing one another the way that we had set that intention, I love her to pieces, and it's not personal. This is about business, and I will always love her, but we want to get to where we're going. If at some point during this year, my goal stopped being elite when we started this year together, and hers still is, she may have to leave me behind. That's not going to happen, but I'm just saying. So Mindy, do you want to talk about like the interviewing part? Like, that maybe they set up a few people?
Yeah, so I have a success partner matchup sheet that I had used to share with the team in the past. I'll drop it in the Diesel Nation team page, and bump it up in my team page. But it's something that I would really take time to fill out and figure out what you're looking for, because everybody's needs different. Like, here's the thing is like what Christina addressed it in the chat, and Tammy talked about it, about having multiple success partners. That's like basically saying like, okay, so I'm going to date this one guy because he's fun, this one guy, this other guy because he's, great with kids, this other guy because he's, good with money. I mean, the thing is, this is a relationship, and if you're not getting what you need from somebody, then it's clearly not the right person. So you, like I said, need to know this is like a relationship thing. People are like, I can't ever find the Mr. Right. Well, are you Mrs. Right? Do you even know what you're bringing to the table as Mrs. Right? And that's the same thing. It's like, you need to look at where your business is at, and you don't have to have identical lives of somebody or even identical goals, but you have to be like on the same track. Like, if you've got a coach that's, 2 months in is killing it in the business, but then somebody like, me, who's been in business for 6 years, where chances are not going to match up compatibility wise, business or goal wise. Like, we may be both going for elite, but come on, somebody who's been a coach for 2 months, yeah, it can happen in the first year, but I mean, we're not going to be speaking the same language. And so that's something you need to really take into account. But, for us, we both said at the end of 2016, we're both really disorganized, even though we used to be like super, perfectionism was our thing. But like, as we've been coming home, because we've been able to celebrate her retiring from her previous profession to be a full-time coach. And so we've been able to work together, like, let's get organized. So we, this year's kind of gotten away from us. You know, we're only a month in, but a month flies by. And these calls we've had have been great, but they were a lot of the BSing and that fluff. And so finally today I was like, okay, let's cut the shit. Let's be productive. I'm like, where's your planner? I do things pen and paper. She has it online. So like, let's do this now. And so we were really like realistic, like let's plan our day, you know, at least rule 4 hours of our day. So we plan from 8 a.m. Central Standard Time to 12:30 Central Standard Time, which is 9 to 1 on her time. We're like, we were planning how we were spending our day, so at least we can master those first 4 hours of our day. And then like once we've mastered that, we're going to work on the full day, but we're trying to work on organizing ourselves. So that was something that for us, that's what our needs were, is like accountability to stay organized. And when we both, I was just like, you got to be on me and I got to be on you for like this next week, not just tomorrow, but we need to get into a routine. She's like, okay, got it. And you know, we were talking about like, that's what we're going to do. Then we said, okay, let's sit down and focus on creating our interest list, hashtags, and implementing what we learn on the National Wake Up Call. So those are the things we need to do, because we're not really good about staying super organized, even though we have plenty of time. And we're not really good about the implementation because we both get super overwhelmed and then we're just like, screw it, let's not do anything. And so those are the needs that we have. Those things you may have down pat. Like, you know, you may not need anybody telling you how to do your schedule. So you need to figure out where you need help and where your strengths are, because a lot of times finding somebody who's identical to you isn't really right, because you may have the same strength. So it just depends on what your personality type is and the other person. And that's where, you know, going in saying like, we're going to do like a 30-day trial to see how this works, you know, and moving forward of that, you know, are you able to, is one strength able to play off the other's weakness, or are you both weak in the same area and you're both have the common goals and you're strong enough to push each other? It really just depends on the pair. And this is like any relationship, you've got to test it out. So that's, you know, I hope that helps. I'll drop that, you know, success partner matchup in there. And also, you know, if you're a newer coach and you don't know a lot of people, going into your upline, you know, somebody like Christina has, you know, a large team. So somebody underneath her might be like, I need this. She's like, I have the perfect person for you. And I've done that. I've helped match people up just like Shane did. She posted in the group. I reached out. She matched us up. And then Shane's not been in the equation at all. She's never been on a call with us. You know, she's not even usually part of our topic at all. It's just that she matched us up. So, you know, reach out. Don't try to do it on your own. And one, you know, thing I want to throw in is that like, I truly have gone to Tony Robbins to help me really start trusting in the universe and exploring my spiritual side as something that I completely pushed out of my life. And I believe that once I started opening up to that, Tammy came into my life, and I truly believe now more than ever that there is no coincidence. I've never believed that Becky came into my life by accident. But now I believe that Tammy did. And I'm not going to tell all of her story, but you know, she's had, experiences with people in the past who had addiction, and her boyfriend Ryan, we both have Ryans in our life, he is I think 3 years sober just recently. I think it's 3. Yeah. Anyways, and so she's been fully supportive of him, but she didn't necessarily understand everything about it. And it's different when you're dating somebody or married to somebody or it's a family member who's dealing with the addiction. But I came in and I had literally gotten sober a year before we met in October of 2015. So we shared so much of this, and you know, it's not like she's drilling me. We're just talking, but she's learned so much about sobriety and addiction, which I believe has helped her be a better girlfriend, be, you know, more understanding of her challengers. And we bought this book recently that we've both been reading to help our challengers, because we've been finding that a lot of people have had some issues with, you know, their relationship with alcohol based on, you know, they're committing to 13 weeks of 80-day obsession. So we're working together. And so I truly believe that this has been something that the universe, you know, conspired against us and brought us together, because it's helped us so much. And she's made, you know, decisions to cut alcohol out of her life too. I mean, maybe not 100% forever, but, you know, I think that we both needed one another in different facets of our business. And we're both very transparent with one another, very honest. And, you know, we were always doing fun stuff together. And, you know, I share stuff that from our team, she shares stuff from her team. And, you know, we ran groups together. And so having that outside influence is so helpful, because I've learned everything from Becky and Christina, really. And so who's to say that their way, you know, their ways right is working, but other people's ways might make our business grow. And to be able to transfuse my business and our team with somebody else's stuff is super cool.
Yeah, I just want to add, you know, for some of you who are are adding in the chat, like Ashley and Christy, like, go in your Diesel Nation main page and start a post like, all right, this is going to be the success partner find each other post. One of the things that Mindy and I did with each other too was we did the color code test. So if you guys haven't ever seen that or done that, it's I think you can just Google color code test. We did both the color code test and we did the love language test. So we were able to see what it is that, and I hadn't done the love language one before. Mindy asked me and I was like, I don't know. So I did it real quick and then I shared it with her, and it was super cool. I then made my boyfriend to do it, of course. But those are great tools to learn about that other person so that you know what it is their language speaks. That's great. Those are great tools for your downline coaches as well. Quite frankly, challengers. But so that might be something that you do when you bring that new person into your life, because just like Christina said, they do. I mean, Mindy and I, it's so funny. We both said we don't have many pictures together because we feel like we see each other all the time. But like we literally only we saw each other at Summit. We see each other at the Success Club trip, but we don't. She's in Texas and I'm in Connecticut. I just feel like I see her all the time because we're on Zoom every week together. But, because we are able to be there for one another and we talk about things, certainly we've done a lot in the business in the last year together and we're continuing to push forward. But I do think, those relationship things, when we're struggling, I'm a divorced mom, so we have that in common. We've had divorce before, but I'm not currently married. I don't have anybody in the house that I have to deal with. I have a little girl who's 10 and her son, she's got a son and older girls. So we don't have everything exactly the same. And I think it's important for you guys to know too. I definitely think it's helpful that we're both home. But when I first started working with Mindy as a success partner, I wasn't home full time. I was still working. I was working 20 hours at that point with the goal of retiring from the court that I worked at, but I wasn't yet there. And so it, again, helped me like, okay, she's home. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. And it helped push me further. And then at the same time, Mindy was able to go, okay, like we both had different waves in this business. When you've been doing this as long as we have, you kind of go on that entrepreneur roller coaster and it waves back and forth. And so we've been able to say like where we've been in different spots. And I think we're very pacing each other perfectly right now. And so that's what you want to find is somebody who's there with you and or coming out, and you're able to kind of yank on one another and just really push into the direction of what your goals are. I think it's really crucial for you guys to find somebody if you don't have one. If you're listening to this call and you're like, yeah, I don't need them, I just want to encourage you to look at that because we all need people in this business. It's not just about the personal development we do. It's not just about our upline coach. We all need this tribe. Like there's unlike anything. I've never seen anything like this in a company. And I worked for other companies before. Beachbody, I'm never going anywhere. I'm going down with this ship. It's not going to go down, but if it ever does, I'm going down with it. And Mindy and I say that, we're both ride or die. Like we bleed Beachbody blue. I don't care if they put out the craziest thing. I'm behind it. I'm doing it. Like that's just, so our core belief in this company is incredibly strong. That is something we are 100% matched on. And so you've got to find that person. You've got to find them who is here to be on this journey with you. You're going to go, you can maybe at certain times be one step ahead of them and be like, come on. And then in another version, they're going to be a step ahead of you and be like, come on. But 90% of the time, you're running at the same pace and you're there together. And you're cheering one another on and, you're celebrating your successes and you're there for one another when the bleep hits the fan, because it's just gonna, because that's what entrepreneurship is, guys. Like, unless you haven't figured that out yet, this is not easy every day. And so that's what your success partner can be like. Today, I think I started the car like my brain's on fried. I'm on fried. I'm like, I can't. And she was like, no, we're not. And I was like, okay, good. Like, that's what I need. And then there's other times that's exactly what I've done to her. And so, Do you guys have other questions? Like, I feel like we covered a lot in this short period of time, and I don't want to belabor it either. I could talk about the subject all night,
I have a question.
obviously. Hey, hi, girl.
So if you were, because obviously you both have been in the business for a long time, so you know, some of the concepts that you're saying are very familiar to me. I'm like, yeah, I totally get that. I have success partners, so I understand that dynamic and how important it is. But if you're like someone that's a coach or emerald rank, what are I think you covered finding one, right? And making sure that they complement you and all that. But what are the kinds of goals that you recommend someone that is coach, emerald, kind of building their way towards diamond, getting their feet wet with hitting Success Club, the kind of goals that they should be setting together?
Well, that's a good question. Mindy, do you have like things right off the top of your head that you want to say to that?
So I would say that in the beginning, like I said, you'll need to make a list of what you are looking for, what you're bringing to the table. Like if you're somebody who's like going for rank and you are rank driven, you are competitive, then find somebody who's going to push you to do that. Like that if you're somebody who's like, well, I just want to build, for sustainability and I want to learn. I mean, you need to find somebody like who's going to be a walker or a runner, and there's no right or wrong answer. And then you have to understand that this isn't just like, let's get on a call and smile and be like, oh, how many invites did you do? Like you want to push one another. Like, that I will never forget Amber, somebody, I can't remember her last name. She's one that like bailed on me, sorry, as a success partner. But she talked about one time about how she had a success partner and she was super introverted and didn't like to talk to anybody. So they would do like a text back and forth of like, you have like 10 minutes to talk to somebody and invite them. And so some of those things, like pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, those are things that you can do. Or setting a goal of like, I want to get to Emerald by this Wednesday night so I can go, be part of this group. And then there could be, things that you do to push each other. Like, did you reach out to your family? Did you reach out to your challenger? I mean, those are things that you really could do to push one another. And there's also things of like getting on a live power hour together, or being like, hey, you have a 10-minute break at work, do 10 invites and then text me when you're done. Just simple things that need to get done that if you don't have somebody telling you what to do, you won't do. And then that's kind of where I think we stand. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you need to be super clear with yourself. You need to be first and foremost really honest about where you're at. Like, did you say you were going to do 80-day obsession and it's supposed to be day 22 and you've missed like 7 different workouts and you're on day 22 but your nutrition's 50%? Like, you've got to get really honest. And if you're hiding, because it's easy to hide. Mindy and I, I've done that before. Like, oh yeah, fluff, I'm going to show all the good stuff, and you're not being honest with anyone about the real shit. Like, that's what your success partner's for. So you've got to get super clear about where you're at with your 4 vital behaviors as a newer coach. Like, if you're like rocking your nutrition and your program and you're on a national wake up call and you're doing your personal development, you suck at inviting and you're not sending, I don't know about your team, but we do like a minimum of 3 to 5. When you're at our level, it's like 10. You're like, you've got to be inviting every day. If you're not doing that, then you've got to be honest with that about yourself. Where are your positives and negatives, and what are your goals? This is where I'm at and this is where I want to go. So if you're at Emerald because you asked your 2 family members that are your closest to you, but you haven't asked like this awesome friend of yours who's a fitness professional and you're just scared to ask them, then you've got to like share that with this next person that you're going to want to work with, so that you can kind of be like, okay, I got to step outside my comfort zone. Is it recruiting? Is it sales? Are you not hitting SC every month? Is it really off? Is it that you want to be a team leader? What does that entail? Is it that you want to, you want to make $250 a week consistently? What is it going to take to do that? And really just get clear about it. Is it in the beginning, that's sales? Like that's your own success club. So I think you really need to break it down. And kind of incrementally go there. I didn't think that I was a social worker in a court, guys. I did not think, and I was 215 pounds. So if I was like an Emerald coach, I would never have been like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like make over $1,000 a week consistently, and I'm gonna retire from my full-time job. Like that was not my headspace when I was an Emerald coach. I was like, okay, like maybe I can get to a diamond. I'm not even sure. Like, that's where I was at. So I think you've just got to know where your feet are planted right this second, and just be looking at that next place. And I have to say, like I've grown past some success partners that I've had, and that may happen, because you didn't think that you were going to be like headed to 1-star, 2-star, and all of a sudden when you started, you guys were emeralds together. That happens. So I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, absolutely. Great tips from both of you.
Anything else from anybody?
Love everybody saying, what happens if your emeralds are ready? Well, I mean, that's a good question, Stacey. The question is, where do you want to go? Do you want to be diamond? Do you want to be 2-star? Do you want to, is your goal for the end of this year, you're watching everybody go to NLC this weekend? Let me tell you, that should be everybody's goal for next year, because that's 100% possible for everyone here. If you're an Emerald coach, or even not yet, you can absolutely get to NLC next year. And if you don't know what the requirements of that is, then go to FAQ right now and find out, what do I need to do in order to get to National Leadership Conference next February, because it's an amazing event. Don't miss events. If Beachbody puts them on, don't miss them. You want to be there. I want to go like every year. It was the best thing I ever attended. So just decide that that's where you're headed. That I want to be a minimum of 2-star by the end of this year, and I want to be headed towards, to go to NLC next year. And so just make a plan. And if you're not sure if that's realistic, talk with your upline. They'll tell you, they'll be honest with you, and just find somebody else who wants to drive to that goal. And that's what you guys should be putting in that thread that Mindy started in the team page is, this is who I am, and this is where I want to go, and I want to find somebody to get me there. I want to find somebody that I can help get them to their goals too. Is it good to have someone with the same goals or complementary goals? That's a good question too, Alyssa. I think it can be both. Mindy's super strong with posting, like a lot, and now everything's changed, right? So I've challenged her, where I was a 10 times a day poster, I posted consistently on social media. I've kind of challenged her to say, all right, let's step it back a little bit. Let's be more purposeful about our posting, right? So she's had strengths in certain things that not necessarily strength was a weakness, but I had a different perspective in. And maybe we've done different trainings separately that we can kind of bring to the table. I do think in terms of goals of where you're going, I do think you need to have something similar to be looking forward to. We wouldn't necessarily both have to be driving for elite, but what does that mean, right? Like, I'm looking to build leaders on my team. Maybe it's not, maybe my goal is because I want to make $2,000 a week, and that might not mean elite for me just because of the way, our business is structured. But it may mean that we're still doing the same activities. We're still, headed in the same direction. So I think you do need somewhat similar goals. Would you agree?
Definitely.
Yeah, there you go, Valerie. That's a great one. I want to be on that cruise. What does it mean, right? Like, that's a great goal to be going on that cruise in 2019. But what do you need to do in order to get there? And what are the daily activities? How are you going to hit Success Club? How are you going to make sure you don't have to pay anything more than you already did? Like, why should you have? I've never paid once for any other Success Club trip other than the base that I had to pay at the beginning. Like, and why should you? And on top of that, how about you get all those extras that they give you for extra stuff, and figure out how to do that and work with your person and breaking that down and setting that up together.
And I feel like really this partnership, it needs to start off business wise of like, this is what I'm going to help you do to reach your goals. And this is what I want you to do, and very structured and regimented towards business. But it's like a therapist. Like, you can't go to a therapist and only tell them half of what's going on and expect to get results or growth. So, I'm very honest with him. Like, I don't just be like, oh yeah, I did this and this. I'm like, dude, I didn't do anything. I mean, like, I've done nothing, and this is why. And so she never scolds me, and I don't scold her. And there was an issue about, some food things on Friday before her daughter's birthday party. And I was like, let's just be honest. Like, let's talk about it. And so you have to be willing to be honest with other people. Like, if you're not honest about this, then like, what are you doing? Like, nobody can hold you accountable or be that cheerleader if you're not honest. And so you have to allow yourself and give yourself permission to be vulnerable and honest, or just like any relationship, it's just not going to work. And so I'm very clear with her about my inadequacies, about my failures, about my things that I have, dropped the ball on, and my fears. And so she's the one who, gently and lovingly nudges me towards it. And here's the thing is, if you go in with boundaries and expectations and stuff with somebody, and you're saying like, this is what I want you to do, I give you permission. Well, it's really hard to get mad at somebody after you've been like, hey, this is my goal, this is what I need, please do this. And then they say something. It's really hard to get, people, I've had it happen, but it's you've given somebody permission to be honest with you. And so here's the thing is, like, you want somebody who does that, even if it may piss you off. You want somebody to, because you're never going to grow if somebody just says whatever to keep you in your comfortable little bubble. So. Yeah.
Absolutely. So in terms of having similar complementary goals, yes, but I don't think you need to have the same strengths and weaknesses. Where somebody, where you may be like rock solid on personal development, you may partner with somebody who's like not doing it consistently. And, they may be, awesome at inviting and you're not. And so that's where you can really start to try to balance each other. And help one another out. So I don't definitely want to share that. I don't think that's necessary, but you do have to be honest about it. You have to be honest. Otherwise, you guys are never going to grow. If you don't know where you're standing, you don't know where you're headed.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out, because it is Team Cup month, and I'm looking at a lot of my newer coaches on this call that are on the Team Cup for the first time, and they are paired in a small group setting. And they have this added kind of accountability to their teams. Now, take it into March and April when it's not Team Cup. And now you're like, okay, now what? That's where the beauty of Success Partner really comes into play. Because, like, I have my Success Partner, Elizabeth Harty, and man, I know that our call is on Thursday, but I'm totally going to offer the suggestion of doing it after the National Wake Up Call. That's brilliant, by the way. Everybody should have written that down. But like, I know, like, okay, by Thursday, I better get my act together, because I know she's going to bring it. I'll have to bring it. And we're going to start shooting ideas of how we're going to, run this diamond group. She's going to be in it too. And, what are we going to do on the side with our coaches for that group? So you have to understand that because this business is this voluntary army, right? You come and go as you please, but if you stay and you work, it could be so life-changing that you want someone there to lean on and to push you and to almost bring out in you a little bit of your competitive spirit. I have a very big competitive spirit. I don't need anybody drawing that out of me, but some people on this call, a lot of our coaches, you kind of go into your shell, and because it's comfortable not to be pushed, and it's comfortable not to be in the limelight, and it's comfortable not to stretch yourself and push and do things, for your business, right? It's comfy, but a Success Partner can really draw that side out of you consistently. And that's what builds this business, is consistently driving towards the next goal. That's why, Success Club is every month, because you want to consistently be driving towards that goal. Rank advancements, for us that are in leadership positions, 2-star, 5-star, 10, 15-star, we have to consistently be growing if we want those leadership bonuses. There's things that need to happen monthly, quarterly, yearly in our business to continuously grow. So This call was amazing. And I hope everybody understands the power of success partners after this. Don't get stressed out. I want to say this, everybody, because I see some eyes like this. Don't get stressed out that you need to find one tonight. 100% transparent. I flew solo in this business for about almost 5 years. And when I say solo, obviously I had my sister, I had Mindy, I had a lot of people that I leaned on in the business. But as far as strategy and having weekly calls or bi-weekly calls, I didn't have that until I found Biz. So don't stress out, but don't do what I did either, right? Take the time to find that success partner because it does make a difference in your business. Go, take over, because this is your call, Mindy Horde.
I don't have anything else to say. If you guys, I think we covered it all. Here's the thing is that you have to lean in. You just have to lean in and you have to be open, and you have to be trusting, and you have to be just honest with yourself. And that's the one thing that this business in general has helped me with, is just to be honest with myself, because it's easy to lie to yourself. But when you tell somebody else and then you have to look in the mirror at the end of the day, it's really eye-opening. And, like Christina said, this business is, take it as you want. You can come and go as you please. But, I shared this recently. Ryan and I were talking about Tom Brady. I love Tom Brady. I know a lot of people don't, so sorry if you don't. But, he's freaking awesome. And in an interview, Ryan and I were talking about it. Ryan's like, oh, I watched the interview. And he was like, I eat, sleep, and train. And he was like, that's why I'm good. Like, I do this. And so there's so many people in this business, and Tammy and I talked about this today, who are like, oh, so-and-so, so awesome, blah, 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 blah. Well, those people do. They do the things. They do the 4 vital behaviors. They eat, sleep, and breathe it. And I used to be like that, and I'm not anymore, and I'm okay with that. But here's the thing is, like, you have to find somebody who you can be honest with. And like I told Tammy that, and she said the same thing. And so we both love each other where we're at. We push each other to where we want to be, and we're honest with, we talked before, like, well, should we go back to this way? And we're like, no, we're happy with where we're at. And so you also need to, like, the comparison game can really mess with your head if you sync up with the wrong person, and so that is something that you have to be honest with yourself first, and you have to be honest with the person and know that you're going for the same goals at pretty much the same pace. Like, I mean, I personally know that when I teamed up with Tammy, she was part-time working towards full-time, and I knew it was really close, but I probably wouldn't have done well with somebody who was the old me, who was working 8 hours, a day. I was striving for full-time, but our lives were different, and we wouldn't have understood each other's, goals, because even with Tammy working part-time, she still was struggling with organization on her days that she was home full-time. And then I was able to help her transition, fairly, I was able to help somewhat about her transitioning to full-time. We both have our struggles. So that's something that is, you need to bring to the table too, about, what your commitments are. And, if you're running it for the same goal, but at the same pace as well. Does anybody have any other questions? Like, now is your trial run in your cup, is to really lean in and be honest and push one another. And this is something that I've said throughout my whole career as a coach, is like, literally we have like 2 like competition cup type things a year usually, but like, why not treat every month like that? You don't need a prize from corporate. You don't need a fancy name. You can team up with coaches from within your team, outside of your team, and you can run and do amazing things and push each other. And one of the greatest gifts in this business is being honest with myself and pushing myself outside of my comfort zone and seeing what I am made of. But I never did that before, because I never had a cheerleader. I never had anybody watching me. I never had anybody pushing me. And now you do. But most people won't step outside their comfort zone unless pushed. And that's where having a team and having, business partners help. But the one thing that I was just thought about, that I've always told my team whenever I started pushing my coaches to find success partners, because it was also kind of a relief to me, because I had all these people coming to me all the time, and I was just one person, and I was like, but having somebody else, helps. But I, told everyone, don't get it twisted with what a success partner is, your personal coach, and what a mentor is. Because there's a lot of people like Jason Diebold, who's our upline. He's been a huge mentor to me this whole entire journey. But he was never like success partner material for me because he mentored me. He taught me stuff. He spent time with me, helping me. But it wasn't somebody that he was going to do a call with me every week and push me because we were at different levels. So make sure that you're able to identify who a mentor is, who a success partner is. And that's all I have to say. We're right at an hour, so unless anybody has a question, I don't have anything else to say.
Oh, thank you guys so much for having me. And you are part of an amazingly strong team. I know no one in Diesel Nation can say they don't have upline support. That is, that's one thing that we are all very blessed with, is that we have amazing mentors above us paving the way. And so I'm confident you'll all be able to find somebody, whether it's in this amazing Diesel Nation or crossing over to Liz Harkey when you guys do this amazing Diamond group, because that's going to be, too, a wonderful place for you to find somebody when you guys merge into doing that, for sure.
Can I just say something? I one time, like, match made in heaven, I paired Paulina with one of Liz Harkey's coaches, and they've become such number one, they're both crushing it. But number two, Jenna Lee asked Paulina to walk her wedding, and they had not known each other before that. So that's the kind of cool stuff that happened.
Yep, absolutely. If and when I do get married again, Mindy would totally be there, no doubt.
And me too. Okay, that's it.
Okay.
All right, guys, I will get the recording on YouTube. I'll post it in the Diesel Nation team page. I put the success partner thing in there that you guys can use. You don't have to use that one, but you can use it as a guideline. And again, take some time, be honest with yourself about what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what you're looking for, and what pace you're willing to go. That way you can present a pretty little package of yourself to somebody to see if they're well suited for you. So anyways, have a good one. We'll see you next Monday night.